Who do you trust? Why do you trust? How do you build trust? Those are the questions. We asked Red Cross and Red Crescent experts to share their answers via their own selfie videos. In the town of Musina, along South Africa's northern border with Zimbabwe, Mariath Ndlela talks to a young man who traveled more than 1,000 kilometers to get a fresh start in a new country.
I remember the first month I arrived here, I was afraid, when you arrive in a country, you don't know anyone, you just yourself there. I was afraid about the life, about how people were just talking about South Africa, especially in Pretoria, thieves, who can kill you anytime.
A music and math teacher from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Aman left due to instability and violence, and he went through a lot to get to South Africa.
Most migrants, they are worried about what might happen to them because of they don't have documents. So most of them, they are worried of being deported to their country of origin.
This is why trust is so important when offering services to migrants, says Mariath. She works with other volunteers to help migrants stay in touch with family and to offer screening for infectious diseases. Mazu Omaru is a migration expert for the IFRC in Niamey, Niger. Trust is very important because if trust is lost, it will have very negative effects on the situation of the migrants themselves. If something diminishes the credibility of the humanitarian services in the eyes of the beneficiaries and the eyes of the partners, that will worsen the migrants' vulnerability because it will limit their access to services. If they don't trust the services that are being offered, they will not seek out those services, and that only worsens their situation. Umaru was one of many experts around the world who contributed to a global study on the issue of trust and migration. He interviewed dozens of migrants from various parts of Africa. One key takeaway: always stick to the fundamental principles of independence, neutrality, and impartiality. To win their trust, you have to avoid either encouraging or discouraging their migration project, because they perceive that there are people working there for certain organizations who want to discourage people from migrating to Europe. When you do that, they will avoid you and prefer to go to someone who will agree with their plan. You also have to avoid, when you intervene in a local community, of being perceived as working alongside the police or government security forces. If they think you are working with the police, you will lose their trust. Although 73% of migrants associate the Red Cross and Red Crescent emblems with safety and hope, not all migrants, about 1 in 5, understand that Red Cross and Red Crescent national societies are independent from government authorities, so communication is critical. So what advice do the experts have for gaining the trust of migrants?
Us as volunteers, we build the relationship with migrants. What we do, we go there in most days so that they get to be used to us, so that they can be free. And we also do dissemination, telling them about who we are and what we do, and telling them about our 7 fundamentals as the Red Cross. That helps them to open up and trust the organization, and to ensure them that their information will not be shared with any other authorities or law enforcement or anyone else outside the Red Cross. So we make sure that we go to places where they feel safe, where they are comfortable, where they are aware of the area, because if they are not aware of that area, then they will be having worries of what might happen to them. Since in South Africa, we also had cases of xenophobic.
When trust is established, new possibilities open up.
Hi, how are you doing? My name is Rudraj.
Ruth Raj tells the story of a woman who shared a very difficult story about how her husband suffered a stroke and was paralyzed while working in Saudi Arabia.
He cannot work anymore. He cannot walk. He cannot do any work. There was nothing to eat, no rice or whatever it is. The house is empty, and the wife started crying. These 2 stories also they told me because we trusted the Sri Lanka Red Cross Society, and they thought that SLRCs might do something, And if any other organization had gone, they would have not come out with all these stories.
It's these kind of stories that then enable the Red Cross, Red Crescent to act. For more, see the link to the report Migrants' Perspectives, Building Trust in Humanitarian Action in the description section below.